It takes a lot of people to put this thing together, and I'm so grateful for the folks that helped me out. Rufus obviously is a rock star. He's in there cleaning the gym right now. Becky has been home and helping me from her house and sending stuff in. I think Doug and Terry has act like carrier pigeons all the time, getting stuff back and forth, and I appreciate all she does. Ellie and Ty Powers came in yesterday to help me set this up, and Ellie has done a ton for me, as she always does. Danny and Shelley has done the registration table for 16 years. They've done it every single Hall of Fame that we have had. And then Kelly helped out tonight at the gate. And then the Humphreys family, if all of you don't know them, Aaron is the one that does the PA system, and he literally is as good as they get. And he makes the game about the kids. He never does any more than what he's supposed to do. He's here every night. He does every boys and girls basketball game. He's done every football game. And he did many years of soccer, and then his wife and kids have ate more suppers out of my concession stand. The one kid always goes up, and they still don't, the people in there don't quite get this, but he always says, just put it on Doug Foot's tab. And he's drank more pop and ate more candy than anybody in the world. But I've had 3 boys as my ball boys out of the Humphrey family, so they are just an unbelievable family. And again, thank you to Mr. Stewart, who's back here tonight. Joe Stewart's our principal, who came to the banquet. We really appreciate your support. I truly appreciate our administration for allowing me to do all this. It is a blessing. And then our Hall of Fame committee, I don't know how many people know the hours that our Hall of Fame committee puts into this, and I know they don't like when I do this, but it is what it is. JC is on our Hall of Fame committee. The one thing, most of them are New Richmond grads, but JC's been here for 72 years, so he just seems like he built this building. And so we have him on our Hall of Fame, and length of time has made him a New Richmond graduate. Patsy Wilson is one of our members. Liz Machef is one of our members. Greg Hawkins is one of our members. And then Pat Hill, who couldn't be here tonight, she's our commissioner of our league also, former athletic director, was here 36 years, Patsy? 36 years, I think. And she wanted to be here, but she's got to come up in 2 weeks for our league wrestling tournament. And I think the weather has not been the greatest in some of the parts down there. So these guys they work hours for this, and I appreciate them so much and everything they do. You that have come back to this year after year, thank you so much. Please encourage others to attend. It's such a neat thing. For the folks going in. And again, please nominate worthy candidates. We research like crazy, but we really need people to nominate worthy candidates that we may miss, and we never want to miss that if we can help it. All right, so let's get on with the procedure here. This class is an amazing class. I mean, it is an amazing class, and we have had some really, really good ones, but when you think about 3 of the 4 of this class is out of the same class. They're out of the 2014 class. That was a pretty special class that went through here. So we are so pleased to have all of them, and I know, some of them's a little shy, but they will be just absolute rock stars. So our first inductee is Josie Buckingham, and her presenter is Patsy Wilson.
He said, speak loud. I'm old, I have to wear glasses to read what I have written here. Josie, my girl. Thanks everybody for joining us and celebrating these amazing athletes. Josie Buckingham is the definition of a coach's player. Always giving 110%. Never complaining, and would swim across the Ohio River if she was asked to do so. The kind of player that only comes along once in a lifetime, and I was lucky enough for that once in a lifetime. I coached Josie as a 7th grader and assisted coaching Josie as an 8th grader. As a 7th grader, Josie who's what, almost 6'6" now, was 6'2" in the 7th grade. When we walked in the gym to an opposing school, the 7th grade coach would look at me and say, please say she's in the 8th grade. Nope, sorry. She's with me. Josie was so meek and mild on the court. Once during a timeout in 7th grade, I looked at her and said, Josie. Now mind you, Josie's 7 inches taller than I am, so I was like, Josie, don't let them push you around. Push back. Be strong out there. She looked at me down and said, but I'm afraid I'll hurt them. I said, they're not worried about pushing you around and hurting you, so you go out there and do the same thing. She said, okay. After that, I had my then at the time senior son come in and play basketball and practice against her and push her around. So she would get used to that on the floor and never complained, did whatever she was asked to do. Also in the 7th grade, Buck, her dad, came to me one day and said, what recommendations do you have for summer basketball? AAU, how do I get her into it? And Josie walked up and I said, well, the first thing is, it's a big commitment. Josie, do you want to do this? I said, you don't get to hang around with your friends and goof off all summer long. You'll be on the basketball court all the time. She said, yes, I want to do this. She said, I want to play college basketball, so I want to do this. Well, Josie did it, and Josie fulfilled her dream playing college basketball. I followed Josie's high school career and was proud to see her excel in the sports she loved. Watching her set new records, breaking records that her mother set. By the way, I was there when her mother set those records as well, as her teammate. And I was very proud and honored to watch her do this. I think the most impressive thing I ever saw Josie do on the court was during her senior year in a state tournament game. Josie was being double teamed the entire game. She was more like being sandwiched. She couldn't move. Those girls were making her stumble, pushing her down. She never said a word. She got up, continued to play, never retaliated, acted like they never did anything to her. Mild and mannered Josie. Josie showed her true colors as an athlete and a human being at that moment. Nothing but amazing. Josie's now coaching girls basketball at the high school level and AAU in the off season. I know she is positively impacting many young lives. Josie, it was an honor coaching you, watching you grow up, and it's been an even greater honor inducting you into the New Richmond High School Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Several years ago, I used to read their bio off their plaque. I think the writing has gotten smaller, so now I do it off paper. Josie Buckingham, one of the most celebrated athletes in school history. Josie distinguished herself as an outstanding basketball player and team leader. A 4-year varsity starter, Josie's statuesque grace and style left a legacy of excellence and sportsmanship, which today serves as a beacon to many younger players in the New Richmond district. On February 21st, 2013, Josie scored 42 points against Bethel in an SBAC tournament play, shattering the previous long-standing record, 38 points, set in 1977. That would be her mother. As a junior, Josie earned first-team SBAC All-Star honors, was named first-team All-Southwest District, and honorable mention All-State. Her senior year in 2014, Josie was named first-team District 16 and first-team All-Southwest District. Josie led the Lady Lions to an SBAC championship in 2014 and was voted SBAC Player of the Year. She earned a spot on the Associated Press All Southwest District 2 First Team, the Associated Press All Ohio Division 2 Third Team, was voted District 16 Player of the Year, and named to the Kentucky-Ohio All-Star roster. The following New Richmond High School school records were amassed by Josie over her 4-year career at NRHS. All-time leading scorer, 1,465 points. All-time leading rebounder, 1,021. Highest scoring average for a single season, 20.9. Owns 9 of the top 11 scoring games in school history. Top 2 offensive rebounding games with 10 and 11. Top 2 defensive rebounding games, 17. Top 2 single game rebound records, 23 and 26. Single game record for 2-point field goals made in a game with 18. Single game record for block shots in a game, 17. 3 seasons of over 100 block shots each. Single season block shot record, 153, which is 8th in state history. And leading career shot blocker, 451, which is 5th in the state history. Graduating in 2014, Josie earned a full Division I athletic scholarship to the University of Minnesota, where she played for 2 years. Transferring to Loyola Marymount University, she played 3 years, earned all academic honors in the West Coast Conference, and her master's degree. This is a very special one for me because, number one, I got to be there when she broke a lot of her mother's record and watch them both celebrate that on the court together, which meant a bunch. Her mother is maybe one of my best friends ever in New Richmond. I love her to death, and the fact that Josie is going in means a ton to me. So it's my privilege to introduce to you Miss Josie Buckingham for induction into the New Richmond Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Patsy and Mr. Foote, for that wonderful introduction. Love you guys. Thank you to my family and friends for being here. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee and the Athletic Department for having us tonight. Mr. Foote, I really appreciate all you do. You've had my back since day one. You've checked on me, supported me, and loved me as your own, and I will always be thankful for that. New Richmond is so lucky to have you. Congratulations to the other inductees tonight. It's pretty awesome to be honored alongside 2 fellow classmates and a legend like Mr. Schinkel. So the last time I had to give a speech was at my best friend Allie's wedding. There was a lot of liquid encouragement consumed that evening to ease my nerves, doing this dry January thing, so bear with me for a bit. Before I even started thinking about this speech, I had a few people reach out to make sure that they were mentioned. So first and foremost, my siblings do in fact deserve a lot of the credit here this evening. They are the first to challenge me or call me out, and they are the first to have my back or come to my rescue. I grew up watching my older siblings, Charlie, Jenny, and Georgia, play ball, which encouraged me to play. If you weren't aware, basketball runs deep in Buckingham and Michef blood. We used to sit in the driveway at the big house and watch our oldest cousin Evie swish half-court shots from the porch in absolute disbelief that that was even possible. Eventually, as we could hold our own, it became games of horse or one-on-one, where the half-court shots became a little more realistic for some of us. My sister, Georgia, and I got to play 1 year together in high school, and I was so proud to be her annoying little sister on the team. With John Henry just a year behind me in school, we were the last babies left in the house and had some extra years of bonding time. I remember getting thrown into a practice or open gym with the boys, running down the floor with my head turned behind me stupidly, slamming into what I thought was a brick wall. It wasn't. It was John Henry, my big little brother. It was rare to not have at least one of them at a game in high school. Even in college, there were many times they'd hit the road to Minnesota or California for games and other adventures. With 5 of us, I'm not sure how my parents managed to be at everything and get us to all of our various endeavors. From endless practices, soccer games, basketball games, track meets, concerts, dance recitals, church activities, after-school commitments, hosting team meals, I could go on. Somehow my mom and dad managed it all despite our wild shenanigans, and we always knew we had your support. I always had at least one of you in the stands, and I will never understand, and I will never be able to thank you both enough for that. My bonus sister Autumn and stepdad Joe came into the picture my senior year, and I will always appreciate their unwavering support through college and the end of my playing career. A couple of chefs who would also inspire my love for basketball include my grandparents, James and Virginia Machef. They gave me my first taste of college basketball, as it was always on the TV at the cottage on any given evening. As accomplished scholars, it always amazed me how into sports they were and how much they truly enjoyed attending our games and other athletic events. Even when getting up in the bleachers became difficult and their court vision wasn't quite the same, they were Lions fans through and through. As it is in the Machef blood, my uncles John and James also blessed New Richmond with their skills on the court. I've always looked up to them both, and their encouragement through my basketball career meant a lot. Now, and even as a kid, I've always been proud when someone asks, "Are you a Machef?" Proceeding to ask which sibling I belong to if they couldn't tell by just looking at my face, and the conversation usually turns to basketball in some way. I remember back in school, kids would look at the plaques hanging out there in the hall, and they'd come up and ask, "How is it you're already in the Hall of Fame?" I'd just laugh and tell them that they got to go back and read the name. It was my mom. By the time I was in high school, I started to really grasp how special it was to be following in her footsteps. My mother is a proud Title IX athlete, and I am her proud daughter. From an early age, she made sure I knew what this meant, what it would continue to mean. I grew up knowing the obstacles herself and her peers faced during that time. Pat Hill, who coached those first teams, my mom's teammates like Tracy Hamilton and Patsy, those are the women that I got to look up to growing up. Other big NR names like the Hawkinses, the Higginses, the Joneses, I know I'm missing a lot, but my mom made sure I knew who laid the foundation here. And the work and relationships she built directly affected me some odd years later. I'm thankful to have gone to a school that takes such value in its history. I've had many coaches that have impacted me over the years, and I was lucky enough to have been coached by some true legends here at New Richmond. Starting off young, my mom and Terry Flam helped spark my love for basketball. My soccer days were fun, but somebody just had to get me on a basketball court. Our NRE squad was something special over those years. Terry and Doug, you guys made it so fun for us, and while making us better, which I know is not super easy to do with 3rd to 6th grade girls, so thank you both. Moving on to middle school, my girl Patsy Wilson coached me in 7th grade and has become a great mentor, supporter, and friend. I know she mentioned this, but I'll never forget her trying to find ways to challenge a 6-foot-something middle schooler, eventually bringing in her son Nick, who, like she said, was a senior at the time, to battle it out with me. I think I might have got him with my bony elbows a few times, so those are really good memories. Jeff Lavely's coaching style was different from what I experienced up to that point, but he was able to push us and get the best out of our group. 2010 8th grade champs. He also introduced me to leg lifts, which are a very bittersweet memory. Coach Wilkins, I will always be thankful for your pep talks, words of wisdom, and guidance. I recall many practices with you beating me up in the post, always wanting to make me better. You and Hatfield put in some work together, and we had some really good teams those years. Brad, who I know is not here this evening, I owe a lot to you. Even as an awkward, lanky freshman, you saw something in me and pushed me every day. I will always appreciate our easy, sarcastic banter and having a coach I knew I could trust. You were by my side while I navigated the recruitment process and choosing the right school. Despite what I thought I knew then, I now realize all those 17s you made us run were indeed in my best interest. I do see that now. AAU basketball fueled my competitive spirit for the game. A few coaches I'd like to thank for their time and support: Coach Kosciuszko, Coach Robinson, Coach Warren from the Cincy Legends, Coach Arrington and Coach Snell from the Angels. Chris, John, and Rachel and the crew over there took care of me my last year of AAU and supported me from afar in college. And now I get to work for that program that they've expanded since I played, learning in my new role as a coach. When I moved back to Cincinnati after finishing school, I jumped right into coaching, something I wasn't sure I would do after I struggled with my relationship with the sport during college. Since then, though, it has opened my eyes to an entirely different perspective. It's making me look back on the grueling workouts, disagreements with coaches, the tough days, and made me all the more thankful for them. I've learned that teenage girls are not always rainbows and sunshine. They can be stubborn, and occasionally you may get some attitude or backtalk. Patience is key. I've also come to understand the amount of unpaid hours that coaches put in. It's clear to me now that the coaches I was lucky enough to have here were not there for the money. They were there because they either loved the game or loved New Richmond, and somehow I was blessed with coaches that love both. The other night, one of my players at CCD reached her 1,000 points in our win against Mercy McCauley. An exciting achievement that instantly brought me back to when I got mine. I can tell you exactly who passed me the ball for my 1,000 point, Cassidy Martin. It wasn't even my senior night, I was just a junior. But the seniors that year, Riley and Cass, wanted it to happen. In my mind then, I said I didn't want to take away from that, but that's the thing, it's such a team achievement. I would have been nothing without my teammates. Those two were great teammates and leaders, and we won 17 games that year. Really, this award is a testament to the many other athletes and ladies that I got to play alongside over the years. I wouldn't have gotten any of my accolades without them. The numbers, records, all of it wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have any of the points. I wouldn't have had any of the points if they hadn't been there to feed me the ball. Wouldn't have had any of the rebounds if they hadn't been there with killer on-ball defense, forcing the other team to jack up shots. I definitely wouldn't have made my 17 times if they hadn't been there to push me. I was usually chasing after Bailey or Hannah. Although I will keep some of my favorite memories in the past where they belong, a few highlights that I recall fondly include Christmas parties and meals at the Buckingham Palace, team bonding at the roller rink freshman year, drives to Ripley for summer league ball with the Workmen's blasting Queen the entire way, Mr. Humphreys on the mic at every single home game, and Colin bringing me flowers on senior night, post-game radio chats with Mr. Pennington and Mr. Sheldon, locker room time with my girls, often laughing and sometimes crying, beating Amelia to clinch the American Division Championship, taking down Georgetown to win the SBAAC overall, finally hitting a 20-win season here at NR, and then cutting down the nets during the pep rally when both boys and girls basketball teams won league senior year. I'm proud that our graduating group of 5 stayed together till the end. Bailey, Hannah, Alexis, and Allie. It was not easy. There were injuries, we had tough practices and ugly losses, and we changed as we grew up. But we were a special group together that brought a little bit of everything to the table. I wish I could cut this award up and give each of you a piece, because I definitely would not have it without you four sticking by my side. Our 2014 class was one of the best. Basketball has taken me to a lot of neat places and introduced me to a lot of amazing people, but I have to say that most of my most favorite people are right here in this little town of New Richmond. The relationships I made here outweigh any award. As advised by my older brother, the inclusion of a John Wooden quote tonight was pivotal. But being my mother's daughter, instead I will end with a piece from my favorite female coach, Pat Summitt. A guy raised his hand and asked if I had any advice when it came to coaching women. I gave him a death ray stare and said, "Don't worry about coaching women, just go home and coach basketball." Thank you, and go Lions.
Thank you, Josie. Next up, Hannah Hall, and the presenter, Terry Flam.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I've tried to keep these two separated because it's their night, but I have to start out by saying what an amazing era this has been, including all 3 of these girls. If you had the privilege to be there and watch any part of it, it was incredible. It was something that you don't see hardly at all. And so to have such amazing athletes do what these girls did, it was just truly incredible. So tonight, I have the honor of standing here and introducing to you an exceptional athlete, Hannah Hall. As her plaque states, she's not only the best female high jumper in New Richmond High School, she's the best female high jumper in the SBAAC in this county. And not just by a couple of inches. It's amazing. To jump 5'6" in high school, incredible. At one time, the best high jumper in the district, the Southwest District of Cincinnati. Still one of the top high jumpers in this district. Hannah was a versatile athlete who could do and would do anything that I asked her to do, except maybe the mile. I don't think we ever did that. So she was a hurdler. She would jump in on relays. She would do pretty much anything that I asked her to do for the team. She was a team player. Hannah came in as a freshman, having broken the middle school record, and I knew right away she was something special. She had a form that high jumpers try to accomplish throughout their whole career. She had it as a freshman. It was perfection. She didn't have to work at it, it was just there. We worked the beginning of the season like we did any other season, working on form, working on technique, working on steps. If you're a high jumper, you know steps are a big deal. They were not a big deal for her. It could make or break you as a high jumper. Go out one day for a meet and your steps are off. How does that happen? You do the same thing every single time. It happens. She was incredible. Again, her technique was perfected by her freshman year. She was a natural. She rarely needed me to fix anything. I would go over to the high jump, she would be doing her thing, and I would just sit there in amazement. Again, rarely had to ask, what's going on, how you doing, how are things going. It was always going great, and that's what makes her so good. Again, if you know high jumping, the beauty of seeing it done perfectly is something special, and she was perfection. Don't get me wrong, she had days when things were not flawless. In my 25 years of coaching, Hannah may be the most tranquil athlete I have ever come in contact with. When she gets up to give her speech tonight, it will probably be the most I've ever heard her talk. And I think her family can agree with me on that. I did learn tonight from your dad that you're quiet at home too. It's not that you just don't, I thought for years you didn't like me. That's great. She never let her emotions interfere with her desire for success. She never panicked. Her ability to regroup and fix an issue if she had one was amazing. Not something you see out of many high schoolers. Her confidence level, it was impeccable. Like I said, she was pretty quiet, except for the day that she broke the school record. This may have been the first time I realized she had a sense of humor. She finished the meet, proudly walked over to me, as she had done any other meet, and I said, "How'd you do?" And she said, "I broke your school record." Not, "I broke the school record," or "I'm the new record holder." "I broke your school record." So I knew that she had done her research. She knew how high she needed to jump, and she knew who held that record. And at that time, I knew she's got a sense of humor. She's and I just happened to be lucky enough to be the coach at that time. She had a giant smile on her face, and I remember saying, "Good, now set it so high that nobody else can break it." And she's done that. If there comes a time where an athlete comes along that can break that record, that coach is going to be privileged enough to see something very special, because I know I was. Hannah's achievements are nothing short of extraordinary. With 3 qualifications to the regional track meet, a 3rd place finish her sophomore year, and back-to-back 1st place finishes her junior and senior year. As a coach, as a track coach, it's very, very difficult to get out and see everything, see what each individual is doing, especially field events. And so usually what happens is, after their field events are over, they come and they tell us how they did. I was so excited when we got to go to the regional track meet and then on to the state track meet, because I could go, it was her time, and sit and watch every single jump. I had my little chart. I could chart every single thing that she was doing. I knew what place she was in. I knew how she was going to finish. And that was so fun to be able to watch this incredible athlete do what she did. And not only was I lucky enough to watch her at the regional level, I was lucky enough to watch her at the state level. 2nd place in the state. That is amazing from this little bitty town of New Richmond. And that was her. She then went on to college, Denison University, where she was a 4-time nationally ranked high jumper. Nationally ranked in the nation. I get cold chills just talking about it. So what you are looking at is history, something that may never happen again. And I was so proud to be a part of it. So today, as we honor her induction into the Hall of Fame, let us celebrate the journey of a true champion, a high jumper whose achievements know no boundaries and whose legacy will forever be etched in the history of New Richmond High School. Please join me in congratulating Hannah Hall on graduation.
Graduating from NRHS in 2014, Hannah left her mark of excellence with distinction of being the greatest female high jumper of all time. Honing her skill to attain a personal best of 5 foot 6 inches, this feat still stands as a school and SBAC record and as a district record till this past year. Hannah was voted most valuable field events for sophomore, junior, and senior years. She was a 4-time regional qualifier, 3 times regional placer, and 2-time regional champion in 2013 and 2014. Hannah qualified 3 times for state competition, placing 8th in the state in 2013 and placing 2nd her senior year in 2014, clearing a height of 5 foot 6 inches. During all 4 years in track and basketball, Hannah was a member of the 2014 Lady Lions SBAC League Championship basketball team. After graduation, Hannah attended Denison University, where she earned her bachelor's degree. She currently holds both indoor and outdoor high jump records at Denison with 5 foot 5 inches and 5'7" 3/4 respectively, earning All-American honors. Hannah was a 4-time national qualifier and placed in the top 8 in the National Division III competition. She placed 4th in the National Division III competition in 2017 and was a 3-time North Coast Athletic Conference champion. It is my pleasure and my privilege to introduce to you Ms. Hannah Hall for induction into the New Richmond Sports Hall of Fame.
Hello. I would like to start off by thanking Doug Foote. As any good athletic director should, he wants all of his student athletes to be pushed to be their best. And in true form, I have to believe that's what he did with me tonight by not letting me know that I will be giving a speech. So bear with me on this speech, please. I thought I would just talk about how I got to this point a little bit and how I started with high jump. So when I was in elementary school playing basketball, as you may or may not expect, I was dead set on my future career as an athlete. I knew that I was going to graduate, go to Xavier University and play on their women's basketball team, and then go to the WNBA. It didn't quite turn out that way. So I found track in middle school just because I was always wanting to do sport, and that was in the spring, so I thought I would do track. And I had the intention of being the best hurdler New Richmond has ever seen. So on the first day, I did hurdles, and I had a lot of fun. I was a little slow, but I thought I might as well just go and try high jump because a friend of mine's mom happened to be working that station that day. And so I went over there to hang out with her, and I tried high jump, and turned out it was a lot of fun, and I really liked it. And so the next day at practice, I tried it again, and the next day I tried it again. And so when our first meet came up, the coach at the time, Mrs. Miller, said, I'm just gonna put Hannah in high jump because I've seen her over there a lot. And I went into that first meet ever of my life and somehow won on my first time. And what my mom likes to say is that that was the best decision Miss Miller ever made, was putting me in that meet that day, which I don't know if that's true or not. But for me, I think it was on how it impacted me because it shaped many years for me to come after that. I very quickly became obsessed with high jump to the point where I would take the net off of part of our trampoline back home and run in the yard and high jump onto our trampoline. After a day of practice, I would go back and jump on the trampoline as if it were a high jump mat. And from there, with coaches and teammates to support me, I just fell in love with it more and more. And then when time came for me to choose where I'm going to go for college, I was really kind of debating if I wanted to continue doing track or not. And with my senior year season and how awesome it was and how much fun I had and the success I had and the teammates I had, I knew I had to keep going. And so that led me to doing track in college, and I had a great career there with great friends and coaches, much like here. So with that, I just want to thank some people. For one of my best coaches of all time, Miss Terry Plan. She did coach me to breaking her own record, which is very nice of her. And she was always very encouraging of it and never upset about it. And even I remember my senior year when I broke my own record at this time, but it was the highest I had ever jumped. And I didn't expect to jump this at all this year, that day. And so when I did, and I ran over to her, and we just hugged and celebrated, and it was amazing. And in the adrenaline of it all, I know I stepped on her foot with my spikes. So, and so thank you. Good. Okay, I'm glad. And I have a feeling that happened 1 or 2 more times after, just in the excitement of it all. I also would like to thank all my teammates that I have had throughout the years, Josie and Olivia included. In any sport, your coaches and your teammates help push you, and that has helped me become even a better athlete in all sports, high jump included. And then I want to thank my parents. So my dad in particular was a very big supporter, to the point where in college he was driving all over the place to come to my meets, including middle of nowhere, Iowa, at some points to watch me in the national meet. I would also like to thank my mom for her support, who I really, really almost talked into her buying me a high jump mat for our backyard so I could keep practicing in high school. I said it would be a great investment if it paid for my college. And she looked, she did, but it didn't work out. So yeah, and I want to thank, lastly, all of my friends that pushed me in high school and were there for me, supporting me. I distinctly remember some of you guys coming to my state meet up in Columbus, which I guess when you're like 16 and can barely drive, that's a long drive. So I appreciate that, you guys coming to support me. So my friends in the past and in the present, thanks for supporting me in any way, and then on and off the field or the court. So yeah, with that, thank you.
Next, we have Olivia Beheimer Polsgrove, and the presenter is Coach Terry Flank.
See, when you're privileged enough to have 2 great athletes, you get to give 2 speeches. Tonight, we have the honor of standing before you to celebrate an exceptional individual, a true embodiment of dedication, talent, and sportsmanship. I'm proud to recognize Olivia Beheimer. a name that will forever be etched in the history of athletics here at New Richmond High School. Olivia was not just a track athlete and a cross-country runner. She was the epitome of excellence. From the very beginning, Olivia displayed an unwavering determination that set her apart from her peers. Her journey as a student athlete was not just about crossing finish lines. It was about conquering challenges, pushing boundaries, and inspiring those around her to be great. Olivia came into her freshman year somewhat confident, not sure how confident to be. One of her goals early on was to break the 400 record. And I knew what an amazing thing that would be. I had the opportunity in 1984 to be on a track team with Lisa Taylor, Hall of Famer here at New Richmond High School, who held that 400 record. And I can remember being 2 years younger than Lisa and watching her run in amazement and how good she was. And watching her in the 4x4 take off, take the baton, and be 200 yards behind the lead person, and Lisa would track him down. So I knew what a feat that was going to be for her. Olivia not only broke that record, she set a standard so high that, again, will allow a coach someday to experience what I experienced in an athlete, an incredible athlete. Olivia had a great personality. Every track meet was an adventure. You never knew what she was going to do before each race. Her freshman year, she was pretty calm. Get in the blocks, run the race, win the race. Pretty simple. Then her sophomore year came along. And we didn't do this very often. It became more common as the years came. We went over to the other side of town and we ran into this tall, lanky young lady who ran the 400. She was from Finneytown. Again, not too many times did we see her in meets because we weren't on that side. So here we are at this meet, and Olivia knew who she was. She had seen times that were impressive from this young lady. Are we allowed to say her name now? Are we past that? Okay. The only difference was her times were normal times. Olivia's times were not normal times. They were absolutely impressive. Every time she ran against her, it became a comical ordeal. The first time she ran against her, she beat her. She was so nervous. Every time after that, the gun would go off, they would run stride for about the first 300 meters. And then you could just see it. Olivia realized, what am I doing? I need to go. And she would go. And she would win. And there were always two things that she would ask when she'd finish. Her first thing would be, what was my time? That was easy. The second one would be, how far ahead was I? And I would always answer saying, I don't know, they haven't finished yet. But that's how she was. She worried about her competition. So humble that she never realized everyone was worried about her. She was the one to beat. She was the one to track down. She would get nervous before every race. And I would hold her blocks before most races. And I remember her junior year district track meet down here. I'm standing on her block. She's shaking, she's doing her thing and just being nervous. And she turns to me and she says, I need you to sing to me. I said, what? Have you ever heard me sing? That is not a good idea. She said, yeah, sing. And so I just came to the first song that popped in my head. No rhyme, no reason. Do you remember what that song is? What is it? You're right. Take a Chance on Me by ABBA. I don't know. So I sang that song before every race. I don't know if it helped her at all, but it sure calmed me down.
Let's hear
You do not want to hear it. I was fortunate enough to have the support of Tom and Susan Beheimer. Tom kind of became my right-hand person. He knew what every race was going to be like. He knew what the competition was like. He had done his research. It was so awesome to watch him be engrossed in this process that his daughter was going through. Sometimes you have an elite athlete, and it's a hard thing to keep in perspective. You expect them to win every time. And Susan kept us kind of where we needed to be. She'd always give that look like she's just a kid. And so I'm a daddy's girl. It's a thing. And I think that beyond the medals, all the broken records, I think Olivia's biggest success in track was the profound relationship she built with her dad throughout this athletic journey. Their bond, shaped in the intense environment of victories and defeats, together they learned, loved, and grew, creating memories that'll last a lifetime. I have no doubt in that. It was so amazing to watch. Olivia was surrounded by an incredible group of athletes all 4 years of high school. When you're fortunate enough to have a winning breed within your program, that's special. Olivia was an awesome leader who fostered that success. She was more than just a record-breaking athlete. She was a model of discipline, humility, confidence, and integrity. Her coachable nature made her a joy to work with, a true team player who understood the importance of collaboration and unity in achieving success. She is truly responsible for making those around her not only better athletes, but better people. It's my honor and privilege to congratulate and welcome Olivia Beheimer as a member of the Richmond Hall of Fame.
This will take a minute because I think the only track record she doesn't hold, Hannah does. Olivia Beheimer is one of the greatest and most accomplished runners ever to grace the halls of New Richmond High School. Graduating in 2014, Olivia compiled an unparalleled inventory of records and accolades in track and field and cross country. Throughout her 4 years of high school competition, Olivia garnered 15 first place finishes in the SBA track and field meet, 2 in the 100 in 2013 and 2014, 3 in the 200 in 2012, 2013, 2014, 4 in the 400 meter, 4 in the 4x4 relay, and 2 in the 8x8 relay in 2011, 2012. She was a 4-time SBAC First Team All-Star and 3-time SBAC Runner of the Year in 2012, 13, and 14. Her efforts led the Lady Lions to 3 SBAC track and field championships in 2012, 13, and 14. To date, Olivia still holds the SBAC record in the 400 meter with a time of 59:23. Olivia was a 4-time district champion, twice in the 400 meter in 2011 and 12, and twice in the 4x4 relay 2012 and 14, setting the pace for 2 Lady Lion district championships. Olivia was a 14-time regional qualifier, twice in the 100 meter and twice in the 200 meter, both her junior and senior years, and 4 times in the 400 meter, 4 times in the 4x4 relay, and twice in the 4x8 relay. She was a regional runner-up in the 400 meter dash as a senior in 2014. In state track and field competition, Olivia was a 3-time state qualifier in the 400 meter. She placed 6th in the state as a freshman in 2011, 5th as a junior in 2013, fourth in her senior year in 2014 and earned all Ohio State honors 3 times. At the time of her graduation, Olivia owned 3 individual and 3 relay school records in track and field in the 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter, and 4x100 meter relay, 4x400 meter relay, and 4x800 meter relay. Olivia was a 4-time Cincinnati Enquirer first team All-Star, and her senior year she was recipient of the Archie Griffin Sportsmanship Award. In cross-country competition, Olivia was a 3-time SBAC first team All-Star in 2010, 2011, and 2012, and a second team All-Star in 2013. Olivia's cross-country efforts resulted in a Lady Lions District Championship in 2012 and District Runner-Up in 2013. Olivia was a 3-time regional cross-country qualifier, twice as an individual, and once with her entire team. Olivia earned a Division I athletic scholarship to Liberty University, where she competed in track and field and continued her legacy of excellence. She earned 4 Big South Conference honors at the Big South Outdoor Conference Championship, first in the 4x400 relay in 2016, 17, and 18, and second in the 400 meter in 2017. She was a member of the 2015, 16, 17, and 2018 Big South Conference Championship teams and the 2016, 17, and 2018 Indoor Championship teams, as well as amassing a large collection of both individual and team university accolades and records. It is my absolute pleasure to present to you Olivia Beheimer Polsgrove into the New Richmond Sports Hall of Fame.
I would like to sincerely thank the New Richmond High School Sports Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me for this incredible honor. It's very meaningful and humbling both to me and my family to be inducted in the Hall of Fame alongside these other very well-deserving inductees, Mr. Schinkel, Hannah, and Josie. I cannot express how excited and proud I am to be in this class of incredible talent and former classmates. Thank you, Mr. Foote, and all involved who made tonight possible. When I was thinking about what I wanted to share tonight, I was reflecting on my running journey and how it all started. I started running cross country and track in middle school, and as a 7th grader, I was just your average runner. But I kept at it until something clicked for me in the 8th grade when I broke the middle school 400 meter record. I believe that is when I fell in love with running and I developed a desire to run faster. In high school, cross country was something I always loved. I had the honor and privilege to be coached by Coach Shabesta. Coach Shabesta was always full of motivational speeches, and he always knew how to push and motivate us. But at the same time, he let us have fun at practice with things like the cross-country Olympics and Ultimate Frisbee Fridays. I can't say mile repeat Mondays were as fun, but we did those too. He truly believed in me and our team, and he helped to further develop me as a competitor. We had a special team, and we were able to win 2 league, 1 district, and 1 district runner-up championship. Thank you, Coach Shabesta, for the positive impact you had on me and your important contribution to my success in running. While I loved cross country, track was truly my passion. I had the honor to be coached by Coach Flam, Coach Atkinson, and Coach Reardon. Coach Reardon, thank you for bringing a sense of humor to the impossible workouts you made us do. Coach Atkinson was always there for me, and everybody knew that you could go to her with anything. I loved being coached by her for the short time I got to do distance running. Coach Flam, thank you for all that you had to deal with when it came to me. You put up with my ridiculous antics, my emotions as a high school girl, my constant nervousness before I ran a race, and so much more. You knew what buttons to push to motivate me, and you knew exactly what I needed to hear before and after each race. I truly loved being coached by you, and I could not have picked a better coach for myself. You made me better in so many ways. As a freshman, I honestly had no idea where running would take me. I was really enjoying competing in high school, and I remember my dad stumbled upon this website called Ohio Mile Split, and you could kind of track where you were at in the district and region and state, and my dad was excited to tell me I was near the top of the leaderboard, and I honestly had no idea what that really meant, but I do remember standing with him looking at the record board, and I said, Dad, what will you do if I break that 400 meter record? And it just so happened a new iPhone had just came out. And he said, if you break that record, you can get the new iPhone. And so it was not long before I was a happy teenager with a new iPhone. But iPhone aside, breaking that record got me really more excited about running, and I ended up making it to state my freshman year. I remember standing at the starting line, looking around at everybody else, and they were all using starting blocks, and I was just a little freshman, and I had no idea how those worked. We hadn't learned how those worked yet. And I ended up finishing sixth that year, and I looked at my dad after, and I said, these girls are so good, and they're so fast, and this was so cool. Can you please help me get back here? And I was determined to make it back to state, and so I began doing extra acceleration training and weight training. Thank you to my parents who spent hours driving me there and sitting there while I trained. I started running indoor track, and I was constantly running in the off season, mostly just up and down the street I lived on. I think my neighbors began to think I was crazy, especially in the winter. It was during my sophomore and junior year that Coach Flam saw my potential as a sprinter, and she moved me from the 800 and 4x8 relay to the 200 and the 100. Thank you for doing that. Sprinting is much more enjoyable than distance running. I won't bore you with the rest of the details of high school, but I did end up making it back to the state meet, and I had a lot of fun along the way. Overall, my high school track career was full of incredible memories. Coach Flame already told this story, but she held my blocks for me once I figured out how to use them. And I couldn't remember how it started, but I guess I asked you to sing to me. But typically during a block start, it is silent at the line, and you're just listening to the official. But if you were standing near my blocks, you could hear Coach Flam singing a song to me every single time, and it did really calm me down. Or the comfort of a home meet where you would find Judy Midler, Melissa Kirby, Becky Lewis, Shelley Glenn, and many other familiar faces working the timing, waiting for you at the finish line. Or the summer days after school was over and Hannah and I would be practicing in preparation for state. I also remember spending much of my lunchtime in this cafeteria annoying Coach Flam and Coach Reardon, who stood over there, trying to figure out what on earth our workout would be that day. Unfortunately, they hardly ever told me. And finally, I'll never forget my senior year when I was on the podium at the state meet and Mr. Foote surprised me and presented me my state medal. That was really special to me. My high school track career was full of more memories like this, and it could not have been a better experience. It's important to note, though, that all that I accomplished during high school would not have been possible without the incredible teammates I had by my side. We had an incredibly special group, and we accomplished a lot. 3 league championships, 2 district championships. We had many regional qualifiers and state qualifiers, and many records were broken. I also had the privilege to run on many 4x4 relay teams during high school. That was so fun because that is one of the races that often determines who wins the meet. And we just had a lot of fun running together, and we were able to make it to regionals each year. I would also not have been able to accomplish what I did without the support of my coaches. I would also like to thank Mr. Foote. Mr. Foote is someone who truly loves what he does. No matter what, he's always there to support and take care of the needs of the athletes and teams. Mr. Foote helps make New Richmond sports an amazing experience. New Richmond is full of incredible coaches and administrators that leave lasting impacts on the lives of their athletes, and they help develop them not only into great athletes, but they teach them so many life lessons along the way. I was, always, and still am very proud to be called a New Richmond Lion. New Richmond Athletics opened up doors for me and gave me opportunities that I never could have dreamed of as a freshman. It was because of this community, these coaches, teammates, and administrators who collectively believed in me that I was able to get an athletic scholarship and run track in college. There I had even more amazing experiences that I never could have dreamed of. I'm so thankful for this community, and I'm proud of where I came from and for the opportunity to represent New Richmond wherever I go. I would now like to thank my biggest supporters, my family. I would first like to thank my Aunt Tammy, my Uncle Adam, and my cousins. They have always supported me and believed in me. My uncle always claimed to be my training partner, so thank you for taking on that responsibility and running with me from time to time. I knew you guys were always in my corner and cheering me on, and that support has always meant so much to me. I would also like to thank my grandparents, Tom and Fran Beheimer. You two spent many, many hours at track meets supporting me, and you even came out to a few of my college meets in Virginia. And when I say many hours, it truly is that long. If you know anything about a track meet, they're very long, but they feel even longer when you run the very first event and the very last event. I will never be able to fully express what your support means to me. My mama always jokes that she taught me everything I know about running, so thank you for all your running wisdom, Mama. And I will never forget being able to hear my papa's voice cheering for me above everyone else's as he yelled, "Go Via." It is such an honor to be joining him in the New Richmond Sports Hall of Fame. I would also like to thank my siblings. Thank you to my brothers, Justin and Tyler, for your continual support of me, for showing up for me, and for also sitting through long hours of track meets. I knew you always were both excited for me, and you were always a phone call away to provide encouragement, advice, or sometimes just listen to me complain. I'm so thankful for the fun memories and experiences I had with Tyler during the 1 year in high school when we were both on the cross-country team. Although when your older brother is a senior and you're a freshman, you do get made fun of a little bit. Thank you, Tyler, for letting me tag along as your little sister. Track aside, Justin and his wife Laura and my brother Tyler have been a constant support for me in each phase of life, and I'm so thankful for their continual impact on me. Although I did not know you during this time in high school, I'd like to thank my incredible husband, Ty. He's also spent many hours in college watching me compete, and he's the best husband and an incredible father to our daughter and our son who's on the way. He truly is the glue to our little family, and I believe without track that I likely would not have met him. Once again, track has opened up so many wonderful doors for me, and I'm thankful for God's hand in every step of my life. And now to my biggest supporters, my parents. There's no way I'd be standing up here at this podium receiving this award without you. You spent many, many, many hours sitting at or working track meets, driving me places to get extra training, and so much more. I can't remember many track meets where you weren't there, and I always had the comfort of looking up in the stands before I got in the starting line and seeing you both sitting there. That always really calmed me down. Mom and Dad, I probably didn't say it enough then, but your support means the world to me, and I hope I made you proud. Mom, thank you for making sure I always had the food and drinks I requested before I ran, cheering me on, supporting me, and providing everything that I always needed. My mom loves to provide, and you can always count on her to take care of you and show up for you. You have been an incredible role model for me, and I hope to be half the wife and mother that you are. Thank you for all that you have done and still do for me. Dad, where do I even begin to start with thanking you? Track was my dad and I's thing, and if you know my dad, he is able to remember and tell you all my accomplishments much better than I can. And if I was running, you could find him close by with his video camera, like he has tonight, recording the race so that we could watch it and talk about it after. He also would bring his own stopwatch to every meet so he could clock my time. I guess he wanted to double check the official's time. Dad, you were the first one I wanted to talk to after a race, and the one who dealt with a lot of tears in the 10 years that I ran from middle school through college. You always knew exactly what to say, and you were so patient with me. Thank you for all your support and your huge contribution to my success. Again, I can't thank my family friends who are here tonight, my coaches, this community, my teammates and administrators and teachers enough for all the time you dedicated to supporting me, for believing in me, and for being incredible role models that helped develop me into the woman I am today. Thank you for this incredible honor. I'm so proud to be a New Richmond Lion and a member of the Hall of Fame.
Next up, Mr. Darren Schenkel, and the presenter, his brother, Mr. Tim Young.
Thank you. I'm here to present Coach Darren Schenkel today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Darren. Darren is a wrestler by heart and by soul. Any of his wrestlers that wrestle for him know that he demanded commitment, and he commanded respect, and he wanted you to be the best that you could possibly be. I do have to tell you that if you think that he was hard on you, you should have been his coach in high school, because his coach can tell you the chipped tooth, the bum leg, and the bum shoulder that he has when he would have to wrestle Darren, because nobody wanted to wrestle Darren in practice because he was really so tough. And
Kenny, you forgot that I'm deaf in this ear.
yes, he is deaf in that ear, because Darren would crank on anybody that he could. And that included his brothers when he would come home from a wrestling camp and want to show us the new moves that he'd learned. And then when we decided we didn't want to do that anymore, he would ask Dad to show him the new moves. So, as you all know, he does demand perfection from his wrestlers. But the biggest thing about him is he loved every one of you guys. He wanted you to be the best that you could be. Sometimes he comes off as hard, but he's a big teddy bear. The best thing in his life was when he got to take kids to the state meet, because it was about those athletes, providing for them, making sure that that was the best weekend that they had in their life, so that they could compete on a stage that they probably would never compete on again, and just excel at something that he loved and he wanted them to love. I had the great pleasure of inducting him into the Hall of Fame of Batavia last year, and it's my pleasure to present him to Doug Foote so that he can induct him into the New Richmond Hall of Fame as a coach. Being from a sister school, I've seen the quality of your coaches. I've seen the quality of your athletes. They're phenomenal. You know, you can't say enough about your sister schools when you know that they have good quality people coaching them. Most of these guys in this room, JC, McGonigal, who was here before, Terry, all the coaches that came before my brother wanted every kid in New Richmond to have the best possible chance that they could to excel in their sports. And it's, again, a privilege to present him to Doug. Thank you.
Revered and beloved as a coach for the New Richmond schools since 1996, Darren Schenkel has devoted his outstanding coaching skills to several thousand student athletes over the course of his career in varsity wrestling, junior high football, and JV tennis. God, I would love to watch them coach JV tennis. Darren has become known for turning out high-quality, competitive, and disciplined athletes, earning their respect and loyalty as he also mentored them in life lessons. Always encouraging, he prepared his proteges to compete beyond the walls of NRHS and taught them to settle for nothing less than their very best. Under Darren's talented wrestling tutelage, numerous individual and team accomplishments were achieved by his athletes. 48 SBAC league champions, 21 sectional champions, and 2 district champions. He coached 155 district qualifiers and 19 state qualifiers, 4 of whom placed in the state meet. Darren's Lions were victorious in 269 dual meets. Darren was voted SBAC Coach of the Year 2001, 2008, 2010, 2011, and 2012, leading the Lions to SBAC championships in all those years. He coached the Lions to sectional titles in 2008, 2010, 2011, and 2012. Darren was twice voted Southwest Coaches Association Division II Coach of the Year, an outstanding student athlete in his own right. Darren was inducted into the Batavia High School Sports Hall of Fame in 2023 for his prowess in wrestling and football. And it is my privilege and absolutely pleasure to give to you for induction into the New Richmond High School Sports Hall of Fame, my friend Darren Schenkel.
Yeah, tennis was something. My daughter didn't even realize I was coaching. I'd go over and pick her up at the middle school, or at the elementary school, and then I would take her over, and she just thought we were watching tennis because I wasn't that good of a tennis coach. But Todd needed some help, so I helped him out that year. I've wanted to wrestle probably since the first time I saw a match. I went to a meet at Batavia. Maybe I was in 6th grade, I believe, at the time. And we didn't have a junior high wrestling team. So Coach Wells, he opened up the high school room to me, and I practiced with the high school that year. Took some beatings, but it made me better for that. As I stand here, I can't help but be overwhelmed with the gratitude and deeply humbled by this honor. This recognition is not a personal achievement, but a celebration of a collective effort and the passion that's defined my coaching career. First and foremost, I want to express my sincere appreciation to the Hall of Fame Committee for this incredible honor. To be mentioned alongside the legends of that this school has produced is a dream I never envisioned when I first walked through these doors. I owe a debt of gratitude to the athletes that I've had the privilege of coaching over the years. Your dedication, resilience, and commitment to the excellence have only defined our team's success, but have been the driving force behind my coaching philosophy. Each victory we've shared and every setback we faced together contributed to this journey. To my coaching staff, some of you here tonight, thank you for being the backbone of our team. Tireless effort, expertise, and tolerance of me, because that can be pretty hard to get along with most days. And I just keep getting grumpier is what they keep telling me, but I don't believe that. You know, it's been invaluable. Coaching's not a solitary endeavor. It's success that we celebrate today and a testament to our collective dedication to the growth and development of our athletes. I must express my deepest gratitude to my family for their unwavering support. Coaching's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a lifestyle that demands a lot of time, energy, and sacrifice. My family's been there every step of the way with me, providing love, understanding, encouragement throughout this incredible journey. To the Richmond community, thank you for embracing and enriching my life. The relationships forged with this community are enduring, and honored to be part of this community. In closing, I want to dedicate this honor to all the wrestlers I've had the privilege of coaching, as well as the coaching staff. You are the heart of this accomplishment, and I share this recognition with each and every one of you. Thank you for making this journey truly exceptional. Everyone present, thank you for this remarkable honor, and let's continue to elevate the life lessons that we've learned through sports. Thank you.
Well, this has been a night. When people ask, why do you do this? Because, you know, it's not a 8-to-5 job. Well, that's my first shift, and then the second shift starts after that. But when people ask, why do you keep doing that? This is it. Right here. This is it. You look back there in that trophy case, and there's pictures of these two standing on the podium. You look over here in this trophy case, and there's 4 basketballs sitting right there. Matter of fact, you will be for those still. And those trophy cases right there, this young lady has brought incredible recognition to this school. One of the highlights of my life is standing with Jesse Owens and people like this at the state tournament, because you get to go up there and we always do pictures with Jesse Owens standing outside the stadium. And it is just a phenomenal privilege as an athletic director to do that. And then you have families that get so involved. Back in the day in track, when they actually used to do stopwatches at the finish line, we had about 8 people. And the Beheimers were always there, the Glens were always there, and we did the stopwatches at the finish line for everybody coming across. They were so good that when the SBAC was held at Bethel, they asked if we could send, remember that? They asked if we could send our parents to do the finish line. So we had to send our parents to Bethel to run the SBAC. That's how good they were. And it was so much fun because we sit there for, 10 hours or whatever it was. And we sat there forever. And feed them sitting on this big old stand that we'd have, and Judy'd be there with the clock, and it was just phenomenal. And then I knew, the only thing I ever knew about wrestling when I first came here was I thought people jumped off the turnbuckle and headbutted people. And I thought all I knew was Wild Bull Curry and the Sheik and Mighty Igor, and I thought that's what I was going to see. So we were setting up our first wrestling match at this JV Wrestling Invitational, and I was a nervous wreck the entire 3 months before that. And I kept saying to Schenkel, what do you need me to do? And he said, well, I won't say exactly what he told me to do. But it basically, in paraphrasing, said, just shut up, I've got this. And I get a little nervous at events because I want them to go so well, and I didn't know what to do other than make popcorn and hot dogs and hamburger. I had no clue what to do. And so we started watching it, and then all of a sudden I'm looking out there, and Logan's on one clock, Liz is on another clock, Jolene's on another clock, Tim Young's up in the bird's nest. No, he was over here doing I'm like, do your whole family do the wrestling thing? He said, yeah, pretty much. And then I started hearing Shankles. And if you know anything about wrestling, there is a Shankle in every school doing something in wrestling. It's the most phenomenal thing you could ever see. So he taught me everything about wrestling. I hated when he retired. I still do to this day. We still make him come around all the time as a volunteer. And he has just been a blessing to this school. This is why we do this. And Mr. Bird can tell you that, Mr. Stewart can, this is why we do this. It's for these folks. They are a blessing to us and a privilege to us to be here. When you guys leave, there's flowers on your table. Please take them. All right, I don't want them left here. So please take them and put them, in your kitchen, your living room, wherever. They are for you to take. I'm going to get shot to do this, and I get it, and I apologize. But Liz, will you please stand up just for a minute? We're going to sit here till you do. These plaques for the last, I don't know how many years, I have asked her to do these. If you guys know Liz, her mom was like a 35-year English teacher. And when you hear Josie talk and you read these plaques, you know where it comes from. She not only writes these for me, the amount of research she does is hours. I mean, hours. And you can ask Hannah and Schenkel, and she calls them and sits on the phone with them to make sure everything is accurate. She is amazing what she does with this, and I appreciate her so very much. Thank you, Liz. Thank you all for being here. Please, if you know of anybody that needs to be in the Hall of Fame that we have not, to give us the name. God bless all of you. One more round of applause for our 4 new inductees. Be safe.